There's this feeling. It's one of the most painful, most universal human experiences out there. Being ignored. That awful feeling of becoming invisible to someone who once saw you so clearly. It's a really quiet kind of hurt, but wow, it cuts deep. So today we're going to dive into what that silence really means. And I promise by the end of this, you'll see it not as a weakness, but as a source of incredible power.
And that's exactly why it's so damaging, isn't it? It's not some loud, dramatic confrontation. No, it's the absence of words, the unanswered text, the glance that just looks right through you. These are the whispers that can slowly, quietly tear you apart from the inside and make you question absolutely everything.
Okay, so let's get into this, because this is where the downward spiral really begins. The second you're faced with that wall of silence, your mind just scrambles to find a reason, any explanation. And where does it almost always start? By looking inward, by blaming yourself.
And then you start replaying conversations in your head, right? Usually late at night. You're analyzing every single word, every pause, just searching for that one tiny moment where it all went wrong. Then the doubt kind of shifts. Okay, well, maybe I was too eager, too open. You start questioning your own personality, wondering if maybe you should have just held a part of yourself back. And this is the one that really hurts. It's the question that cuts right to the core of your self-worth. That silence starts to feel like a final verdict on your value, and you find yourself coming up short.
The bottom line is this experience is basically designed to destabilize you. I mean, it can take the most confident person you know and just fill them with insecurity. There's no closure, no explanation, just a silence that follows you around and makes even your own voice feel unsure.
But what if I told you that all of that self-blame is completely misplaced? What if that silence has almost nothing to do with your worth and everything to do with them? This is the pivot. This is where we flip the script. Let's explore the powerful truth they really don't want you to know.
Just let that sink in for a second. Read that again. This is a complete reframing of the whole situation. See, people don't always ignore you because you don't matter. A lot of the time, they ignore you because your presence awakens something inside of them. A truth they're not ready to face, a feeling they can't control, or a guilt they just refuse to acknowledge. So look at this, because this distinction is absolutely crucial. If you truly meant nothing to someone, they would just be indifferent. Indifference is effortless. It's passive. But ignoring you, that takes energy. It's an active, intentional choice they have to make, over and over again, to avoid you. And that action, well, that tells a whole other story.
And this right here, this is the heart of the matter. You've become a mirror. You might remind them of something they failed to do, a promise they couldn't keep, or the person they were supposed to become but didn't. And for someone who doesn't like what they see in their own reflection, a mirror is a very frightening thing. Okay, so if they're running from what you represent, what exactly are they so afraid of? Let's break down the specific fears that cause someone to choose silence instead of just having a conversation.
When you look at it, the reasons are all about their fears, not your flaws. They might be terrified of being held accountable for their actions. Or maybe they're afraid of the emotional responsibility that comes with a real conversation. Sometimes your presence just shines a big spotlight on their own shortcomings, and rather than face that, they hide. And a huge one is the fear of losing control. When they can't dictate the terms, silence becomes their only weapon.
And this is such a powerful way to look at it. Your very presence, your standards, the way you've grown, it just highlights their stagnation. They were meant to evolve with you, to meet you at this new level, but they fell short. And that silence, it's their silent admission of that failure.
And that brings us to the most empowering part of this whole thing. Sometimes, being ignored isn't a rejection of who you are at all. It's actually confirmation of who you have become. It is proof that you have outgrown someone.
Just take a look at this comparison for a second. The person you were before, you might have tolerated mixed signals, right? Or settled for the bare minimum, for breadcrumbs. Maybe you explained yourself endlessly, just trying to be understood. But the new you requires clarity. You have higher standards. You demand emotional maturity. You've changed.
So here's the key takeaway. Their silence isn't a rejection of you. It's a reaction to your evolution. They were comfortable with the version of you that tried harder and gave more. They just don't have the tools or the desire to connect with the stronger person you are today. And instead of rising to the occasion, they retreat.
Okay, so what do we do with all of this? How do we take this really painful experience and actually turn it into a genuine superpower? We have to learn to see the message in the silence. It's not rejection, it's redirection.
Think of it this way. Sometimes life itself allows you to be ignored, because if that person had stayed, you might have kept settling, kept shrinking yourself, kept waiting for an effort that was never ever going to come. Silence, in this sense, is actually a gift. It removes the distraction and forces you to find your own clarity.
So here are the actionable steps to take your power back. First, and this is a physical step, stop checking your phone for their reply. Put it down. Second, mentally, you have to stop tying your value to their validation. Their attention is not the metric of your worth. And third, turn inward. Start listening to that quiet voice inside you that you probably ignored while you were so busy trying to be chosen.
And this is the ultimate truth you have to hold on to. Nothing they did or didn't do can diminish your inherent value. Your worth was never something they could give you with a text message. It was always something you possessed just by being you.
And you know what? One day, you're going to look back and you will understand this completely. The very experience that felt like it was breaking you was actually saving you. It was saving you from confusion, from emotional neglect, and it was forcing you to choose yourself, maybe for the very first time.
So I'll leave you with this question. Instead of asking, why are they ignoring me? I want you to start asking, what is this silence making space for in my life? What peace, what growth, what new opportunities is this redirection pointing me toward? Because the answer, that's where your power lies.